All right. Hello, Colette. How are you?
Hi, Kim. Really awesome. You're doing good too?
Yes. Hey guys, welcome to today's talk and interview. This is kind of a little bit different than our usual. Hey, Jamie did $50,000 with her Facebook group, and all these amazing results from our Ignite clients. We're changing it up today, and we are going to be talking about money blocks and how to unlock them using the MAP method by Colette. And you guys, this what Colette knows has transformed and helped her clients get over money trauma, all the things around money. And if you have money, if you have issues with money, and if you have money blocks, let me know in the comments. And hashtag money blocks, and also hashtag live if you guys are here live. I think at every single level that we're at, there's always this ceiling of money block. Whether you're doing like $100,000 a month, 200,000, a million, I feel like there's always. And I personally know a friend who is also a coach. She paid a coach, what is it, $20,000 to help her with money block, mental money block issues. So this is a big deal. And if you can, and after she's committed to herself and she invested in herself, she actually did her biggest year yet, biggest month yet, and she went past the $400,000 a month mark because she invested in herself to get over the money block. So this is important. All right, cool. Hey guys, happy you're jumping on in. So let's take a step back. If those of you who are in my audience, some of you might not know Colette, so I'm gonna go ahead and have her introduce herself, and also Colette, let me know what got you into this crazy world of teaching entrepreneurs, teaching people how to get over the money blocks in their life.
Yes, well, I am a licensed psychotherapist, never practiced traditionally. I just wanted to know the secrets of how to master your mind. And I'm also the bestseller author of a book, Abundance on Demand, which is all about money blocks and how I discovered MAP. I'm also the CEO and the founder of a very international and very thriving international company. However, the journey began when I was opening my practice, in Houston, Texas, after about 15 years of studying the cutting edge in psychology. I thought I was a pretty good therapist. And I was really interested more into success coaching and success, helping people realize their dreams, actually. That's really what motivated me to learn more about what can block someone from realizing their dream. So I opened my business, and everything was great until I inherited money from my family. And I began to spend the money like crazy, to squander it, to give it away, to lose it. I didn't care at all about this money. And
winning the lottery, kind of
no, but it was a little bit similar to that. I won the lottery and I lost it all within 2.5 years. And it's only when I looked at my bank account, and I had the courage to look at it because I knew I had spent a lot, and I thought I was on the wrong bank account because it was 0.00. Not even $5 in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And actually, it was for 2.5 years that I did that. You see, I was in this completely autopilot mode of my subconscious brain around money. I just couldn't handle having so much in my hands. And so that's how I began another journey, which was, what are those blocks anyway? Because I went to school for a long time, and you know what? Never got a class on money blocks. Never. It was not even a subject in psychology for us in my courses. So I had to go, all right, I have, let's go and let's study. So for another year, I did actually 11 different therapies that were more alternative and were addressing each one of them, addressing only a sliver part of the pie, if you want. I realized they all specialized in one angle only. One of them was working on what happened in the womb, and if your parents were broke at the time and how it affected your nervous system. And then the other one was about decoding what happened generation ago, that you have programs, literally you are programmed to try to solve a conflict around money. And I did that. I have stories about my own journey, but discovering that ancestral history and what happened to your parents and grandparents affect your money blueprint. And then I learned about the energy system, the chakra system, all of that. So I had like a puzzle that I had completed, and I realized, whoa, this is a complex structure of identity structure, literally. And we need a new therapy, and we need a new technology to handle all of those angles. I can't send my clients to 11 different therapists. It's like that would take forever. And so I was asking for a better method. And, when you ask, it is given. The universe gives you a clue. I mean, for me, that's how I function, And I got a clue from a very indirect way. I had a VIP client coming from France for 3 weeks. And she didn't tell me the truth. When she got out of the airport, I realized, oh my gosh, she has a bipolar disorder. She was on the manic side. Like I had this client that I supposedly was depressed and unsuccessful and wanted to really work on herself. And she was actually bipolar. And I am not a psychiatrist. I don't do personality disorders. It's, a diagnosis. So I had to look into that. And thanks to that, I looked into everything I could find that's alternative in terms of identity clearing. And I found the work of a doctor in Canada who had a genius idea. It was Dr. Flint at the time. He has passed now. But he was my mentor. He became my mentor. And he had found a genius idea, which was that we could train the brain to heal the brain, or to say it differently, we can train the mind to heal itself. We can have a part of the mind, like the subconscious mind, learn to heal itself. And that was like a complete new idea. So like, whoa, that's awesome. So I talked to him. He becomes my mentor, even though he's retired for 17 years already at the time. But he gives him his secret and all of that. And that was great. However, I soon discovered that that was not enough, because remember the subconscious? I realized that the word subconscious in psychology is too narrow. It includes only your lifetime, not 7 generations ago on your father's side, or not what happened in your chakra or energy system or in your family dynamic. The subconscious was limiting. So I got this big intuition for a little while, for 2 or 3 weeks, that I needed to use the superconscious mind, another part of the mind, superior to the conscious and the subconscious. And then we began to have miracles. So once I began to create miracles, of course, leaders, business leaders, I was working at the time with VIPs only. And I was doing Olympic athletes and, world-class athletes and specifically world-class business leaders who really want to be at the cutting edge. They want to clear everything that's on their way, especially the one who are the most successful. They know the secret. They know that they have constantly a little bit of clearing to do to get to the next level. Being an owner of a $1 million company is very different than a $10 million company, very, very different than $100 million company. Each time there is a growth to be done. There is, like you said, like a ceiling to reach, because in your mind, that's not how you define yourself. And you need to first define yourself as a $10 million owner of a company, and then you become it. You see, then you have, your brain is primed to actually go there.
Yeah.
So that's how it all began.
Awesome. Amazing story that you have clients who are like Olympic athletes. That's crazy. Can you tell me, how does that even happen? Like, how did you even get clients that are Olympic athletes? And I know athletes probably need a lot of mental work, mental just coaching, as well as physical coaching. And definitely they are coming in with a lot of money. So they do need someone to help them with, money blocks and to maybe even not just spend everything at once. So tell me a little bit about that. How do you go about getting clients that are Olympic athletes? How does that look like?
You know what, it's, someone heard about me who was a coach of an Olympic team. And she had one person who was about to go to the world, championship, and have all the test activities to get into the Olympic of that year. And about 3 weeks before that, he gets into fear. He was a gymnast, fear of jumping on a trampoline at a certain height, because a few people, there were traumas. One person actually broke his back and things like that. So there were so many traumas that accumulated, and suddenly he didn't want to do his routine anymore. Imagine that 3 weeks before the whole competition. And so I worked with him every day in the gym and out. And within a week, he was back on track and ready to go, and ended up going to the world class, the world level competition. And that was someone who was in the top 10, so.
Oh, wow.
So after that, the word came around, and when there is another, usually I come more for emergency. Like I got another one lately, it was just emergency. And again, the person didn't want to do that. Usually it's a phobia actually that brings them to me. And then after that I go, and if they want to work more, they clear more. But getting quickly them back on track so that they can compete again.
All right. So one of the things I do want to poke at, sorry, I'm like changing the temperature.
Oh yes, completely. I'm a little bit off track.
I feel so hot right now. What is it? I have this Nest app, and it's supposed to turn on, but it's not. I'm like, there. So one of the things that, okay, there's a lot of skepticism around, let's say, I don't even know how to approach it. Let's say that I hire you for mental money mindset. Like, what are the exact exercises? What does it even look like for you to take someone who feels all this trauma around money and start having them walk towards being more open-minded? Is it like, I have no idea what that even looks like. I've never hired a money coach.
It's very, very different than any other coaching, because we have spent, my son and I, a time to create a map. That's why it's called map. It doesn't mean make anything possible, but we also have a map of the subconscious mind. So we communicate with literally the higher mind of the client to be guided through the maze of the subconscious and find the blocks. So we are guided through a protocol, if you want. And when we find a block, what we do is we communicate. I guess I didn't tell you how that all works out, but we actually train the brain to be able to receive an instruction to heal itself. So literally, there is a training before you come to see me. There is a video training. Your brain and all parts of you, the conscious, the unconscious, and the superconscious mind, all of it knows how, how it's going to work. And then when you arrive to my place, I would ask you to focus on your dream. So for example, what is your next goal? $10 million a year or whatever it is. And I can follow the protocol and find what's blocking. I could just ask you perhaps your first negative thought about it. Oh, nobody in my family has ever reached that level. Okay. And then the person just quiets their mind, close their eyes, and just focus on that limiting thought. And I find out what instruction to give to his mind or her mind. And the mind literally within minutes rewires itself and the person begins to think differently. So it's not an exercise to give, it's me giving an instruction to the mind to heal itself. And literally the client observes his own mind changing and suddenly he feels so much better or looks at it from a different viewpoint. But it's not coming from me trying to impose a thought. It's coming from their own innate wisdom that comes up and realizes, well, it really doesn't matter, or, but it goes so much deeper than that. I'm trying to just give a super superficial example.
Yeah, I want to take this time to go deep. Like I think what would benefit my audience is to actually ask questions that that when they go and walk away from this interview, that they're like, oh wow, we just I just didn't listen to a bunch of like high-end, high-level talk. I actually walked away with like mindset shifts around it. So with that said, I'm going to ask something super specific. And how would you pretend I'm your client? Yes. How would you really coach me in a deeper, I know it's like maybe one session or something, in a more deeper way? Or if you can't do it like verbally, then what are the steps that you can explain to me that you would take? And then how would their mind think differently about that situation? I think that would also help. So one of the biggest thing around money is that I can't charge. So how do you take someone, let's say a coach, who charges, let's say 10K, and they're like, well, I can't charge $50,000, and then, or I can't charge $100,000 because no one's going to buy my $100,000 package. How do you coach a coach to go and really stand strong in their worth and be able to charge higher? Like, how would you go about that?
Great. So Kim, it's really not a coaching, a traditional coaching where I would tell them what to do. It's them going to discover what to do themselves. That's why it's so much more powerful. So I would say, okay, feel into that. Is there a feeling that you can feel from 0 to 10? How much discomfort do you have when you are going to see yourself saying the price? For example, let's take that. They see themselves seeing the price and they feel bad about it. They can't even say it, they're like, so I would say to them, how much do you, for example, how much stress do you feel in your body when you're thinking about saying that number? Oh man, I am an 8, I'm a 9, I'm sweating it. Okay, very good. So then I would just say, close your eyes. And I would follow the protocol and ask the superconscious to go deep dive, find the origin of the issue, find the beliefs, emotions, memories that do not serve the person, and neutralize those memories. And literally for 5 minutes, the person would still feel into it or visualize themselves telling the number, $100,000. And then soon they will feel like relaxation. And then they will see themselves. It's an inner journey. It's completely rewiring the brain by itself. The brain begins to think differently and begins to say, okay, now I am seeing myself saying it. And it's not frightening. Oh, great. So you see, after that, we can go deeper. But that's exactly how we would coach someone. So it's not about trying to force through consciousness, consciously do this, to do that. It's really close your eyes and let your brain rewire itself thanks to our process, the MAP method, where the training happened to the brain. And the brain literally by itself finds the answers. And they are your answers, not mine, or nobody else has coached you.
Okay, so what's different about the MAP method without giving away too much? What's different about the MAP method than you telling someone to sit there and think through their pain and, because on the one hand, like for me, I was asked to pitch $100,000 program. I have not sold $100,000 program to one person before in my life. And they told me, hey, Kim, I don't want your 10K program. I don't want your 36K program, which we have. I don't want, that level. I want what's the $100,000 program. And I don't have fear around, a lot of fear around it. One of the things that I think about is, okay, maybe this is what it looks like, but also I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to be someone's, one-on-one. Like my fear is like, can I have $100,000 program and I'm working with someone that I'm happy working, or are they going to work me to the bone, kind of thing like that. Like, I don't want to work to the bone if I offer 100,000. And there might be people out there that's like, yeah, I have $100,000 program and I show up 2 times a year. People pay me $50,000 for dinner, something like that. Like it's a shift. So, how is that different than sit there and feel like, I don't know. I'm trying to
that's really, really difficult to imagine, but we have done research on QEEG and you can literally train your brain. The brain can, and that's what the magic is. So it's very, very different because you can sit down for 5 minutes and you're thinking the same thoughts, you're bringing the same memories, but nothing is neutralized. You see, what happens is a memory has an emotion attached to it. And that's why it affects your behavior. But imagine that we can ask the subconscious mind to actually neutralize that emotion. Literally, you have to experience it. That's why usually people just come to my experience to realize how magic it can be when you're observing your mind changing itself within minutes. So that means you're not thinking it, you're not trying to control it or to manipulate it. It doesn't work. This is conscious mind work. That doesn't work. But you just bring up the doubts and then close your eyes, stay focused on the doubts, don't try anything else, and the doubts dissolve in front of you without you having to do anything, and it will never come back because it's a long-term neutralization of the memory. Now, how do we know that? Because we have done QEEG, we have done research, especially on phobias and fears, and those never come back. The brain has been rewired, and that's where we are, a revolution in the field of psychology. And it's really hard to imagine before you experience it yourself and see the magic. So that's how it works. I would have loved to give you a session before that, but perhaps I can give you a session another time. You can observe your doubts and they will dissolve in front of you like melting ice.
Yeah.
And then it's not there anymore.
I believe it. I mean, in this world that we do, a lot of my clients, go from 0 to making 5 to 6 figures per month, which to the outside world is pretty insane. Like it sounds ridiculous. Like, oh, $80,000 in 9 days, like Kim Seltzer did, or, even yesterday, Jamie said, or not yesterday, the other day, Jamie went live and she's like, yeah, I did $52,000. I paid up all my debt with a Facebook group, and her Facebook group only had less than 300 people. So it's like, in my world, to the outsider, that they can't really feel it, or
Yes.
they can't really understand unless they experience. So I'm thinking maybe like what you're saying is absolutely possible. I don't know how to visualize it because I don't
Yeah, it's really
experience it.
hard to visualize. But what I can give you is some ideas that your members can assess themselves. For example, the first one is to do a timeline of your income and to see how up and downs there are. So if you find up and down, I had a client, he had earned 7 times $1 million and lost it all 7 times. Now you're talking about a pattern, you see? That is, so you can be successful and lose it all. I had a client who used to be actually in Wimbledon, a top tennis player, and she made millions of dollars, lost it all, made it again, lost it all 3 times. And you know what we found out is that through my protocol is that her grandmother was rich. She had oil field in Texas, you know, and she was really rich. What happened just a few months before a death, or a few weeks before a death, she gave her entire fortune to the gardener. Imagine that.
Something was happening with her and the gardener. I'm just saying, she's probably having some fun over there.
There might have been a reason for that. However, the family could not understand it. Every children was waiting for the millions of dollars in the oil field have been traumatized literally by that. So this was the parents of my client. Now she was playing the same thing. You see, rich, and then someone steals the money. Rich, and someone else steals the money. Because your unconscious brings you the wrong partners. Have you seen people who sabotage themselves? They are successful, but then suddenly they take the wrong business partner, or they take the wrong deal.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. I feel like we spend our lives trying to escape our past, and our past very much lives and shows up in, like, when there was a show on Showtime called Couples Therapy. It's so good. It's the first time I've seen that they go behind the scenes of actual, you know, how it's super confidential.
Yes.
Being in a therapy session, but it's broadcast and it's live, and they record everything, and they try not to make the cameras like obvious, so the people really feel like themselves. And the therapist is like, you know, when you talk to your partner, you talk to someone, you are really talking to your mom, you're talking to your grandfather that did you wrong, you're talking, like, when we have a conversation, we're really talking to, like, we're having those conversations in our head, and it shows up in the way that we treat ourselves and we treat the people that's in our lives. And we think that we put up the mechanisms to protect ourselves, but it's truly, it catches up with you, and the actions that you do has so much your past and so much ingrained that sometimes you're so blind you don't even see it until someone shines the light and have you kind of realize that all of the fighting that you did, you're right back. You're like right back at the beginning, you know?
We make 75,000 decisions a day. They cannot be made consciously. It would take an enormous amount of time, an enormous amount of energy for the brain. So what it does is it just refers to programs, which are beliefs that were acquired before 7 years old. And that's what really runs the show. So if you're doing good and well, that's good. You have good programs. And we all have good ones. But there are some who are sabotaging us. And so, for example, even if there is an issue with relationship, it's going to affect your team. How do you respond to your team in your business? Mm-hmm. All of that, the relationship with your team, with the people you attract in your team, all of that. But there is another example of, I want your people to realize perhaps and look at themselves and see if they have any patterns of any way, shape, or form. One of them was, for example, a designer in my place, one of my clients. And he came to me because he was on the brink of bankruptcy.
Oh.
You know why? Yeah. Because he was the designer of a billionaire family. So he designed every single house of all the billionaires, all the children, and all their summer houses. And that's all he did. Guess what? That's pretty risky, isn't it? Well, at one point, this billionaire was in a really bad mood, blah, 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 decided not to pay for the renovation of one of their houses. And suddenly he didn't have the $300,000 he spent on that. And it was on the brink of bankruptcy. When he came to see me, we looked at it. He was about to get to have his 50 years birthday. And you know what? His dad got into a bankruptcy when he was 50 years old.
Oh man, that's scary.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
What happened to your parents and these things, you can clear that very fast and very gently with MAP, because you don't have to talk. As I explained, you don't have to do anything, and even don't have to remember consciously, because your superconscious knows everything and can find those memories and neutralize them. And all you find is that you feel better, and then suddenly he could handle and realize that he has put himself in a situation with only one client. Super risky to have your entire business on one client. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That was sabotaging. He never really looked for another client.
Yeah, awareness is so, like, the act of awareness shines such a strong light, and it changes the way that you, like, examine yourself, and that makes you change the way you behave.
Yes.
The mere awareness, and it's pretty unique to, I think, humans, just because the mere act of us realizing what situation we're in changes the way that we behave. So I can kind of start imagining the way that you think about things either enables you to let go, enables you to move on, or enables you to better understand that situation better, so that you can adjust the way that you react. So
yes, and so that you don't reproduce. But that has to come from the unconscious programs running yourself on autopilot towards your negative circumstances. And it has to come to the awareness, and then being dissolved and healed if there was trauma there, because he realized that they were talking about the bankruptcy his entire life. Thanksgiving dinners were horrible. He always talked about that. And so he had been completely programmed to go in that direction. But it was completely unconscious until he was about to reach that. So bringing to awareness some of your patterns by looking at your timeline, realizing what happened. For example, for me, there was a big breakthrough when I realized that my grandfather fell off a roof, broke his neck, and could never feed his family. And that had somehow connected me with, I cannot earn more than my husband. I had this, I cannot be the breadwinner. He was not the breadwinner. I'm not, I'm feminine. I could not have, but I took this program, and I will not be able to. And then until I clear that, now I am earning 3 to 5 times more. But I had to clear that program, you see. So there are all those aspects that we can review to make sure that you are not in running on automatic towards your negative destiny, if you want.
Yeah.
And
But to your point, like, you know, I think society kind of I think in its dismissal, we enable the patterns, like the patterns,
yes,
because it's like, oh, your relationship doesn't work. Well, he's a jerk, dump him. And then so you, instead of looking inward, society gives you so many excuses to keep on moving to the next thing, repeating the same pattern. And I think even elderly people, like my parents are old, and I would say, like, that's just their ways, that's just how they are. And kind of enabling that throughout my whole life. So my parents have their own patterns that repeats, but I don't interject. And when I did, it was very, like, painful. So I just let it go, because there's too much pain in changing someone when they're like, their pattern has repeated for the past 60 years of their life, kind of style. So I think breaking patterns is not normal. It's not something people normally do. And society really enables us to repeat behaviors that doesn't serve us. And it's even more rare that we understand, like, what happened in our lineage to let go, That's what I believe. Yeah.
And it's easier to see the patterns in anyone else. But for us, it's like we're swimming in our own water. If you are in a pond and the water is not really clean, you don't even see it unless you have someone from the outside that looks at it and say, oh, you're not seeing this or that. And so the coaching I do is find out where are the blocks, and then use map to rewire the brain permanently and gently and easily and quickly. So that's where the combo ends up to be very, very powerful. But
wow, that's great. Yeah,
yes, yes.
I understand it.
Let me give you an example of another aspect. I call them the 11 money saboteurs. I found 11 different blocks that we can be exploring. But one of them is the relationship you have with money and the symbolic relationship. So I wonder if you have anyone here in the group, or everyone could do that exercise of just tuning into a metaphor. Kim, for you, who is money? If money was a personality, if money was a person, and it's kind of an exercise where you do have to relax and close your eyes and just intuitively come up with, who is money? If you had to put a character in a film, in a movie.
Oh, you know what's so funny? The people that are money is like Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street people, people that are making money is money. Whenever you're like, who is money? I'm like, the people who are surrounded by money, probably, and the symbolism of money.
I'm looking for something a little different. I'm looking for a metaphor. Like, is it... I had someone who said he's like a bad guy on a bike, and I can't really trust him, but he's super powerful, and he's, perhaps you can't see. So a metaphor is an image. Someone else can say, well, it's a very posh person who doesn't look at me and doesn't, like, if it was your friend or a person in your life, what character do you think money would be?
Well, that's really funny, because when you were saying that, I think of money as a butler opening up the limousine door, taking me somewhere. Like, that's what money is for me. It's a person opening up a door so I can get in a car to go somewhere.
Oh, wonderful. Look at that. That's a really serving metaphor for you. You see? But you can analyze it. It's something that's helping you.
Oh, that's a really good one. That's a good exercise right there.
Yes, I would encourage everyone to do that and share with each other, because it's fun to discover who is your money character.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's very revealing. If it's a scary person, if it's a
Someone you can
okay.
trust or not. Is it, some people say it's my lover, but I love him, but he doesn't really care about me or something, or he's going to let me go anytime and I don't feel safe, or, so you will see how, but I love your butler. It represents luxury. It represents being very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And it represents for you the freedom, getting into a car, freedom to go anywhere, to travel the world, to explore, to be supported. You have a fantastically positive metaphor for money.
Oh, thank you. That's how I do money.
All right, so there is another one I can give you. Perhaps we can go through the exercises like that. And so, for example, if I find a negative metaphor, then I would do a session on it. See what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Then the metaphor changes, and suddenly the big, bad guy on the bike is a wonderful, sexy guy that's really loving you, and you can trust. Or there is an evolution that your mind, when it rewires itself, brings up now a new metaphor, and it becomes your new guidance. But for you, I feel like you have a butler. It's great. Now, is it the butler? Is it going to help you with your $100,000 coaching? I think so. I don't. Is it something?
No.
Is it limiting in any way your income or not? It doesn't seems to be. But no, it
No,
doesn't.
it's like a unbiased, unjudging person that
Nice.
opens up the door. Not judging me, but kind of very just here you go kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's what I see the butler as.
it's his job. He's doing his job.
Yeah, so
really well.
money is a vehicle in order
Yeah.
to do stuff in life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What emotion do you have around money?
Emotion around money. Oh, my parents actually have a lot of issues around money because they grew up really poor. So whenever I talk to them, it's the conversation is always money for some reason. And how are you? Are you eating well? And then like, hey, are you doing well financially? That's always the two questions. And so, and by the way, my parents don't know how to speak English that well. So our communication is a little bit more limited. I know Vietnamese and I can speak and read and write it, but I'm not like college level with it. So they're always like hoard money. They're always like save all the money you can, don't invest in anything. Stuff your money in your mattress kind of people. So I haven't. So while I've just invested in a $40,000 mastermind last month, and I've been in like last year and a half, I invested $88,000 in just coaching for myself and for my team. I feel like I still have those money blocks because I've been given that narrative most of my life about hey, oh, you made money, okay, save it, save everything. They're not like invest it. So I haven't been a crazy investor. Like I invested in some Bitcoin, but I feel like I can invest way more. I've invested in stocks, but I could dump way more. And it's like I haven't myself been like, I don't gamble at all to lose it all. Like that is a harder activity for me. It's like, at one point in my life, I did gamble it all, but I made profit from that. So it was like all in, chips all in, go in depth for 2 years, see if I profit. So I have done that, and that's not characteristic. Now it's like make sure that payroll, make sure that there's enough runway in the bank, like all these other things. I think that comes into play.
It sounds like perhaps you have two, there is also that aspect of we have two sides of us, like two identities. One is the saver, he saves money. The other one is one time in a run, you run with it and you totally, and in your language, I could see it was either or. It was either I save everything and I follow my parents, background, or I kind of betray the family knowledge and I just go for it, but it's super risky and super frightening. But because you still have a very good money thing, you end up not losing, and you ended up still making money. So that means your money, there is at least a very good base. But getting out of this dichotomy would allow freedom, and that's one of the things I would do. You see, looking at the patterns of extreme identities that are two opposite identities that needs to be integrated so that you have the freedom to think about investment without the backpack of your parents in the back, and listening to what they were telling you, so that you have complete freedom to do or be what you want to be, you see?
I agree. I totally agree in that. I've heard stories of people who do early investments in companies like Twitter and early investment in Uber. And there was people that they have like, let's say $300,000. They would bet everything just all on early adopting technology. And now they are bajillionaires because they just totally bet like all of it. And there's certainly something holding me back in making these huge, bigger, riskier investments with bigger upsides. For sure. Like it's either I'm going like crazy and investing like crazy, or I'm holding and being safe and being secure. So yeah, I do that. Oh wow!
Doing your work here.
Hey guys, if you're finding value from this, Carrie says, "Wow, powerful!" So thank you, Carrie, for popping in. What I want to achieve with this interview with Colette is, for a lot of you guys, you might not have ever heard of a money mindset coach or anything like that. I certainly haven't. A lot of the coaches that I know in my world are all about how to make money, not how to save yourself from the trauma of money and how to figure out how to break free from this trauma. So when Colette was introduced to me, I figured, hey, this is something that people should know about, and that's why I introduced her to you guys. And I know that I do have friends who just recently they invested in a money mindset coach, literally, and it allowed them to break through to next levels of their earnings and the way they invest massively in their own self. And so I think if you're not aware that this exists and it can be healthy to figure out what are the patterns that you've been experiencing with money, because these are the conversations I hear all the time as a coach who coaches coaches. I become one of those people because a lot of group owners are essentially leading their own movement, and so they become a coach, and they coach, relationship group, they coach this group, health group, and I'm teaching them how to go and build out a team, have automation, and convert their people. So, and the question I always get, and the kind of conversations I always hear is like, I can't charge more, Kim. I'm afraid. It's really hard for me to, I get so scared. I choke when I say that price. So I think the work that Colette is doing is very important, not only to athletes who do choke, but also freeing you from you know, maybe to me, maybe because I've been through many layers of peeling back the onion in terms of earning money for myself. So that like $100,000 months, that's like not out of reach, not scary, and we do it. And if I can conceptualize and do $100,000 months, I can do 200,000, I can do 300, 400.
Yes.
So to me, but I've only gotten there because I've invested $88,000. So for me, I'm like, well, I pay these people, so you know, I don't see why I get scared to say like that's my price too, because I see the possibility. But most people will not, you know, will not do that.
No.
They, or even get exposed to it. So I think, or even look at their own behavior around money, but definitely everything just daily, the coupon clipping, the I gotta pay my bills, just like almost, I think you said 75,000 decisions
Yes.
a day.
Hey.
I don't know what percentage is it about money related decisions, but I'm gonna guess that it's a big chunk. You know, keeping the roof over their heads, providing for family, just everything. And I feel it's so important, but it's something that we don't talk about. Really, we don't talk about the mental aspect of it, and we don't talk about how we've been repeating these behaviors that hasn't served us. So one of the things I do know, and this is what I coach, is if someone gives you the objection of like, you know what, I'm gonna do it later, because this is just the way I am. I'm just really careful, and I tiptoe into things, and I do a bunch of research, and I never go really all in. I'm just halfway there just to try things out. So I'm not there yet. And then I would say, okay, so how has that behavior served you? Is that the way you want your clients to behave? Like they're not committing to you, they're just there, and then they tiptoe away. They put a step in, they step back. And I'm like, how has this behavior been repeating in your life? And they would think about their life and their past behavior. And then I challenged them. I'm like, has that served you? Has that served you so far? Why are we in this conversation, right? It's for you to handle that financial abundance part, right? Yes. So yeah, so that's where behavior and money ties into my world in terms of having that conversation. But that conversation is an enrollment conversation, which most people won't even book. So, so that's something interesting too.
Yes, that's fascinating. And for me, the big breakthrough was to jump and take $60,000 at the time. That was a bunch of years ago. I mean, 8 years ago, actually. And a $50,000 coach, you know. And I jumped, and I remember the panic attack that I had, you know, after jumping, because I had not asked my husband. And it took me 3 months to uncover it and to tell my husband, yes, I did that. He was supportive, but still, this really got me. That's another actually powerful thing to do, is to take an action sometimes that is beyond what you have ever done before, and forces yourself. That's true. There is that part that can be super useful if you have the true desire in your heart. Like I had the desire to put map on the planet, and I needed a coach, and I couldn't do it by myself, and I was ready, and I did whatever it takes. So when you're at the level of doing whatever it takes and you jump into, after that, it's like you've jumped and you cannot turn back, and you have to go, you know. And so that's really gave me a breakthrough. So aside from doing the work that is unconscious, because for years, you know, I sabotaged myself, but I cleared it enough to have the courage to just jump and go, you know. So there is both sides, the inner work and sometimes an action that is powerful. And I know, Kim, you're doing that a lot with your people.
Oh yeah, I'm forcing them to jump all the time, to jump within the first month. That's why they have those results, because I like really push them to do it.
Yes.
But there's also something that helps me physically too, because I've rock climbed for a large part for many years, like over 5 years. When I'm rock climbing, I am scared to death and that I will fall and die, and so I confront my mortality very closely on a frequent basis, and then I would grab that hold, like so scared, and I would grab that hold and it's solid. And so I learn more frequently to trust in my intuition and body, and that has enabled me to really help with letting go of the things that have that I feel so afraid about. So I think physically doing that also has helped me, as well as like putting down the money.
Yes.
Because
I
money
love
is digital. It's not like you're carrying around a bag of cash and you're like, here you go. It's just like a number on the screen that reduces and increases somewhere else.
Yeah, well, a rock is a rock,
Yeah.
So you're really grounding it in reality with that. So I love that. Definitely. It's a fantastic tip here.
Well, all right.
Everyone, go rock climbing.
Yeah, no, like that's something to do. So Colette, I had an amazing conversation with you. Usually I go for an hour and like the time has flown by. I believe that this conversation would help a lot of my group members. And definitely this is something that people need to know exists. And even maybe not even on like the big coaching level, but like just talk to someone. Just talk to someone who's certified, who can help you navigate your mind. I think that's really important, as the same level as if you go and hire a chef to cook you healthy meals, or if you go and hire a physical trainer to help you not kill your posture or back when you're like lifting weights or when you're exercising, so that you can do it the right way. A coach in the world of coaching will help you really like jump over the mistakes. And for you, it would be, hey, let's break this pattern. Let's change the way you behave so that you can change your life. And I think that's really important. So thank you for doing the work that you do. Where can my people find you after this? Like, what are the websites?
So, I take only a few clients VIP, so it's not going to be automatically working with me, but they can go to the mapcoachinginstitute.com, and that's more for the method in general. We train coaches and therapists around the world to use MAP, to use it in many different ways, not just money blocks like I have specialized in, but to help in many other ways, in relationships, etc. So going to mapcoachinginstitute.com, and then they can sign up for the free training. There's like a 30-minute free training. And if they are fascinated to experience MAP, I would encourage them to sign up for a 2-hour workshop with me. It's very easy. You can follow the path and you get to a 2-hour workshop with me where you can volunteer and I can work on and give you a demonstration. I think there is nothing better than experiencing it yourself. So absolutely. That's the easy way to get to me, because if not, it's pretty difficult to get to work
so, mapcoachinginstitute.com, you guys, to get to Colette. And she has very few slots for her one-on-one coaching, but she does have workshops where she will take you through an experience. So super cool. Thank you so much, Colette, for showing up today. And I feel like we were just like hanging out and having our own private conversation, but with people. Sorry, you guys, I didn't like ask you to ask questions or anything like that. I was just like really absorbed with this conversation. But thank you so much, Colette. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And for everyone here, so I'm gonna let Colette go. So Colette, I'm putting you back into the green room.
All right.
And I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for showing up today. Let me click remove you from the stream. All right, you guys. So that was our interview with Colette. Super cool, very, very amazing individual. I want to, Colette, if you're in the green room, you can remove yourself by clicking the X, just so you know, because sometimes I see a guest stay there for a while. All right, so I just want to share with you something super quickly. Share the screen. We have a couple, not that many slots left for this enrollment period because I believe only 2 spots left. But I kind of want to talk to you guys about GroupConvert Live that's happening. The location is in Vegas. It looks like this. You can get a room. There is 6 spots left if you want a room to come on in to the Mansion Mastermind. We're going to have a pool party as well and barbecue. Who is running our event is Iconic Becker. He ran Tribe of Buyers event. He ran Jeff Miller's event. He ran all these other events, and he's running ours too. So if you want a ticket to the live event, we're meeting each other live. These are the general admin tickets: 15 premier clients, 15 entry, 5 non-clients. It is going to be from the 19th to the 22nd, and live events are the reason why I've managed to up level in my business every single time. I've met so many amazing people who like hunted me down because of the software. And this live event is meant for us to bring to come together as a community. It's very community centric. You're going to learn how to you're not only going to learn how to monetize and automate your group and like the behind the scenes look of these, 80K, 50K a month, 46K a month kind of stories. You will also we'll have a session where I teach you how to own software to create passive income for the rest of your life. So it's a combination of GroupConvert Live, and I'm going to be adding ChromeBoss. So it's a dual live event for my GroupConvert subscribers and for the ChromeBoss community. And I'm super excited that we are having it in August the 19th to the 22nd. So save the date and hashtag ticket in this video if you want to get some more details. We're going to be sending that over to you very shortly. We already have tickets started selling, so make sure that you grab yours because it's not hundreds of people event. We're only selling about 50 tickets, less than 50 tickets. So make sure that you grab your ticket. Okay. All right. Have a great night. See you in the next video. Oh yeah. If you like that video, then you will love all the resources that I have over at kimcdang.com. That is KIMCDANG.com. There you will find all my courses, my extensions, all the offers that I have, as well as a lot of free resources if you are just getting started.